here at New York Comic Con in the Newsarama Skybox, and we're here with the Afterlife with Archie team of Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa.
Hello.
And Francesco Francavilla.
Thank you.
Right? I practiced.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So how did a book, a true horror comic featuring the Archie characters, ever come about?
Well, it started with this man to my right. Francesco did a beautiful variant cover for an issue of Life with Archie that had Archie kind of in a graveyard with zombies, and it was done in the old EC horror style. And I was like, oh my God, there's an Archie book with zombies. So I bought it. I went home, and it was just a variant. There were no zombies in it, and I was like, oh.
They got you.
They got me. It was mission accomplished.
And then
you brought it back.
Yeah. I returned it. No. But then, like, about a week or two later, I was having breakfast with John Goldwater, who's the head of Archie, and his son, Jesse. And we had breakfast, and then as we were breaking up, I said, oh, you have to do Francesco's cover as a poster because I need that hanging in my bedroom. It must happen. And he was like, yeah, we have to do it. And I was like, you know, I was so bummed when there were no zombies in the issue. And then there was like a 30-second pause where we all looked at each other and we were like, this has to be a comic book.
Oh, excellent.
Kind of in unison. And then like 2 hours later, John Goldwater sent an email that said, we're doing this, it's done.
Oh,
well, you're like
awesome.
the perfect person to write it because you wrote the Carrie script, the remake that's coming out. And aren't you working on a live-action Archie movie, too?
Well, I am indeed.
Yes.
I am indeed. No, I'm a huge Archie fan and a huge horror fan, so this is absolutely the sweet spot for me.
Right?
Yeah.
Was it ever going to be like sort of a more classic Archie tale where like, oh, zombies show up and they like fight and figure it out? Or were you right away like, this is going to be bloody and it's going to be messy?
We had a couple of conversations early on, and we talked about that, you know, because usually in the Archie comic books, the monsters show up and then they all sing a gig.
Yeah, exactly.
And like everything's fine.
Archie can't decide who to run away
but
from.
we kind of, exactly. But very early on, I think John said, go for it. John Goldwater. So it was like, okay, let's go for it. And the fun has been keeping the Archie archetypes and the Archie kind of tropes, like who's Archie going to take to the Halloween dance, Betty or Veronica, keeping all that stuff alive while you're telling a hardcore Evil Dead kind of Peter Jackson, Sam Raimi like horror story.
Well, I thought it was really interesting because, you know, it is a more sophisticated, older story. You know, I mean, you have those things like the archetypes you said of like Archie not knowing who to go, but you have like some more sophisticated beats that seem more real.
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile the, you know, Archie can't decide and sell it as a realistic plot
I think
point?
the big thing is the art, because to me, if it was drawn in the Archie house style, which I love, obviously, you're right. I don't think it would feel like you've talked a little bit, Francesco, about
the more realistic approach to the characters, which I start to do on those Archie meets Kiss covers.
Yeah.
When I got a gig, I said, you know, I want to make them more realistic, and people loved it. I mean, those covers kind of contributed in me winning an Eisner.
Yeah.
So when they brought me in and said, oh, we would like you to draw the book, because it was kind of like closing the circle, I said, well, I'm going to go with that style, because which also was the style on that variant cover from a year ago. And, you know, it sees on some characters, some others like Jagged, that are very caricatural, you know, like this big nose. You had to be really creative to make that look a realistic
and to
thing.
sell the hat.
Yeah.
that was a big issue. Big issue.
But somehow they all fit together, all worked out, and people, you know, say, oh, this is actually a scary book.
Yeah.
It is scary,
And I think it's also like, even though it's very contemporary, like the references, all that stuff, it feels really retro, like it feels like an EC Comics kind of.
Totally.
And that allows us to get away with a lot, just the tone of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because those were the most shock. I mean, they were in the 50s, so in a way they were you know, restrained compared to what we see now, but they were also like the most shocking kind of representations of horror that we've ever had.
Yeah.
So,
and to see the Archie characters go through it, I think it recaptures that. Like, I'm not numb to it because I'm like, this shouldn't be happening to them.
Yes,
I'm
poor
worried.
Archie.
Well, not only that, but you know, everything's on the table because you know you don't have this isn't in continuity. So like major characters have bad things happen to them.
And what we found also is that like for instance, one thing that people really responded to and that Francesco did beautifully is Sabrina and her evil aunts.
I was worried about giving that away, but I love Sabrina in there.
They're amazing. I think because we're in this kind of alternate timeline, you're going to discover that all of the characters have slightly darker versions of themselves.
I can't wait to meet Mr. Lodge.
Exactly. He's got a huge part. He's got a huge part in the series.
So funny.
Yeah, he's one of the few grown-ups, this is a spoiler, that makes it through the first initial arc. Exactly.
How far have you planned?
The first 5 issues is called Escape from Riverdale. Issue 6 is a Sabrina trapped in her realm and how she's trying to escape but can't. And then the next arc is Betty R.I.P. So I know. So,
she never wins.
Archie finally.
I know. Yes, exactly. The choices it chooses. Well, we'll see. You never know.
Oh, that's right. He's like, she's still dateable.
So we've got pretty much the first year in terms, but what we're discovering is that this is kind of one of these story generators. Yeah. The second you throw zombies at anyone, it's sort of like, oh yeah, this is you can go all over the place.
Anything can happen. I gotta give it to Archie for this is like taking so many risks with the characters the last couple of years. It's amazing when in a time when most other characters and other universes or whatever are taken so carefully. Like, don't make any change. We have to consult on the length of the ears on Batman's cowl. Blah, blah, blah. And this is like, no, let's try stuff. Yeah. Let's do stuff that's new.
Yeah. Well, we both, I think, work for other companies, and I mean, there's a lot of dancing in between raindrops. Like, you want to do this? Okay, but he's wearing this costume. Why? Just do it. Okay, we'll do it.
I just recently did for fun, because that's how I do stuff. The Batman 1972 series of illustration.
I saw those. Those were great.
So I mean, that went on Tumblr. They went like crazy, spread like crazy.
Is that how you get gigs? You just draw what you want to.
Yeah,
that's
he's manifesting gigs.
It is.
So I wish DC still had those Elseworld, because they would make a really good story.
Yeah.
But I said, we don't do Elseworld anymore. I say, why? Why we
They're
can have
bringing him back a little. They have the ears at the parks, so you should draw an Oswald cover.
But this is basically like a huge epic Elseworld. Yeah. That's exactly what it, and it allows us to do that stuff. I mean, what's been nice is that people who read the book, what we keep hearing is, even though they're in a horror movie scenario, and even though it is like Evil Dead or 28 Days Later, they say that it's still Archie, though. That Archie's still basically who he is. Betty and Veronica are still basically who they are, and that's the fun of it. Is like knowing these characters.
Well, I think one of the neatest things about this is that I went to pick it up, and I went to my local store, and I was like, I don't see it. Where is it? And they said, oh, it's in the grown-up section.
Yes.
So Archie's literally graduated.
Yeah, no, it's true. The same thing at my local comic book shop.
He's from the grown-up like we are.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, it's true. It's true. Same thing. It was in the adult grown-up section.
Yeah, that's so great to see it there.
Yeah. Yeah,
finally. And like you're saying, like Archie doesn't change. Like you can bend it so many ways without breaking it. Like it's something we all know. We all know so well. Like get weird.
Yeah. It's also like I found that the stronger the core concept, the more you can throw at it, and it will stay true. Like Archie can bend and not break because he's such a strong core, all those archetypes.
It's like Superman.
Exactly. You can basically do anything and it will still be. So it's been, it's a blast. It is really a blast, but it's a full-on horror book.
And because of the fact that I've been around so many decades, people kind of care. So now, you are like invested since issue 1. Say, oh, what happens to this character?
You end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, you're not introducing new characters. People need to learn how to care for them. We already people that care for them.
But if you're killing people off, will you eventually introduce new characters?
That's a very good question. It's true. Basically when we started this, we had a list of every kid who's ever been in an Archie comic book. You know, so we were like, okay, well, which ones can we start going through?
The tokens.
Yeah, the tokens. Exactly, the tokens.
Yeah.
But you're right, because it's like if this book has real stakes, which it does, like obviously Jughead is a huge part of the Archie universe. I mean, no more.
Yeah, and your second arc is Betty R.I.P.
Yeah, no, it's like. It's true, we're going to have to start introducing... But then the other thing you realize is that in 70 years of publishing comic books, there are a lot of characters. And, like, we're going to see how the zombie apocalypse affects Josie and the Pussycats. We're going to see how the zombie apocalypse affects two of my favorite characters, Cheryl Blossom and her weird brother, Jason.
Oh, I love them.
Wait till you see what happens in issue 2 with them. Like, the cheerleaders, Nancy Woods, Ginger Lopez, Nancy Woods. You're going to see what they're... So there is a deep bench, but you're right. It's a finite bench.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
Well, we're going to have to keep reading.
Yes, absolutely.
And I love that it's like line wide. We see everybody.
It's great.
We also take bets, right?
Yes, exactly. We're going to start. They're going to start a poll. What kid?
Yeah, who's gonna make it to issue 4? Right?
Exactly.
Oh, excellent.
Excellent.
No, I'm joking. That's not real.
No, I believe you. This is how they make their money on the site.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks for talking to us.
A pleasure, guys.
And you guys stay tuned for plenty more from Comic Con.